Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome to Wisdom, the nectar of senior devotee. Experience Srila Prabhupada. Today we have very special guest, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. Dear Maharaj, please accept my Dandavat Pranam. I am so honored and blessed to be you are here in Wisdom, the nectar from senior devotee. Maharaj is a spiritual leader, ISKCON Guru, and great Kirtaniya. So I invite Dipeshwari Radhika Devi Dasi to read brief biography of His Holiness.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and
Hare
it is my honor and pleasure to read His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj biography. Born in the little village called Aravad in the year 1949, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj followed the principle of simple living and high thinking since his childhood days. He then went to Bombay for his further studies, but destiny had something else in store for him. That was when the unseen merciful hands of Lord Krishna helped the determined young man to become one of Srila Prabhupada's first Indian disciples. In the year 1971, Srila Prabhupada was traveling to India with his foreign disciples, and they were holding a spiritual festival at Cross Maiden, Bombay. That was when His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj's dream to serve humanity became a reality. He got the inspirational and transcendental chance to meet Srila Prabhupada, and from that moment on, his fate was sealed. Further, he became an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada in 1972 and later sannyasa from Srila Prabhupada in December 1975 at the age of 26. Wow. Srila Prabhupada always inspired his disciple to print books. His Holiness Lokanath Swami, being one of Srila Prabhupada's most dedicated disciples, took this lesson to heart. His Holiness Lokanath Swami has a thorough and deep knowledge of the Vedic scriptures. Following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Lokanath Swami has distributed the essence of his divine and spiritual knowledge in the form of books. These books are full in-depth knowledge with interesting experiences, which have and will continue to encourage many to traverse the path of spirituality. The books written by His Holiness Lokanath Swami include Kumbha, the festival of immortality. This book throws light of the significance of Kumbha festival, its history, and the opportunities this festival provides for preaching. Back to Home, BTG articles, is a compilation of articles written for Back to Godhead. Through these pages reflect the areas of service and devotional project of Maharaj. My Prabhupada contains Back to Godhead articles written during Srila Prabhupada's 108th birth anniversary 2004 to 2005. Over 30 Bash Puja offering and 6 letters from Srila Prabhupada to His Holiness Lokanath Swami. Festivals shows how the festivals at Mayapur and Vrindavan Dham grew. How Srila Prabhupada developed them from scratch in the pioneering days, carefully nourishing them into glorious events. Sanskrit pronunciation book is a storehouse of knowledge for the devotee who want to understand the Vedic scriptures and spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In conversation with Srila Prabhupada, context and contemplation contains the most cherished recollections of the conversational exchange between His Holiness Lokanath Swami and Srila Prabhupada, safely treasured in Maharaja's memory. These intimate exchanges are now even better preserved and made accessible to all followers of Srila Prabhupada's movement, and undoubtedly, this masterpiece shall keep enlightening future generation too. These books are available in English, Hindi, and Marathi also. Adding to the list, this year most awaited publication, releasing very soon, is Maharaja's masterpiece, Brajamandal Darshan, wherein Maharaj is making us see through his eyes and is also making us live and experience the exceptional Brajamandal Parikrama. It is not just a mere book, but his feelings, experience, emotion, realization shared, and most importantly, darshan shared. 30 years of parikrama packed in one book. This is something not to miss. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone, and especially thanks to His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you, Diveshwari Radhika Devedasi, to explain his biography. It's wonderful. We can talk a lot of things, but it is the brief. So we start with Maharaj Prabhupada experiencing, and then we go Kirtan standard and question and answer. So please stay tuned. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So Maharaj, you can explain that.
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासुरी गौर भक्त वृंद and everybody say Hare Krishna कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Gaur Premanande. Oh, thank you, Sachipran Gaurang Prabhu,
Hey.
all the way from Calgary, Canada, remembering us and inviting us to this forum where you had been discussing experiences, remembrances of Srila Prabhupada. And yeah, I'm sure there are other topics also. So, yeah, this is organized by ISKCON Calgary. I remember visiting Calgary long ago. In I think during 1980s, in the early 80s, I did visit Calgary. And I'm visiting again today. I'm in Calgary right now. So, remembering Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You know, this is, I'm sure you knew this. This is a 125th anniversary, birth anniversary year of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada born in 1896. This is 125th anniversary. And the whole world is having lots of celebrations. Part of those celebrations is remembering Srila Prabhupada. So I suppose what we are doing right now, right here, is celebrating 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada as we talk, remember Prabhupada, talk about, remember Srila Prabhupada. And as I was hearing my introduction, I thought it was too long. Mataji went on and on and on. So one item she did read was that I met Srila Prabhupada in 1971. And this is 2021. So how many years ago is that? 50 years ago.
Oh, wonderful.
So not just that. I first ever meeting of mine with Srila Prabhupada happened 3 days ago. 50 years ago, 3 days ago. On 25th March, I met Srila Prabhupada. Today is 27th, right? 25th, 6th, 7th. And so we are having a celebration, in fact. Every day at 6 o'clock, we are celebrating that my meeting with Srila Prabhupada. It's very special for me. How I joined Srila Prabhupada Hare Krishna Festival, Cross Maidan, Mumbai. And the first thing I saw, of course, there was Kirtan. You're talking about Kirtan standards. So our first thing that impressed me was Kirtan on the stage, performed by his American sadhus, European sadhus. This is how the festival was advertised. Oh, American sadhus are in town, in Bombay town. And I was just a college student, and I was amazed to see, and not just myself, but I think this caught the imagination of all the folks of Bombay. American sadhus, forget it. How could the Americans be sadhus? So I had gone to check out whether that's reality, fact, or fiction. And I realized, in fact, that they were genuine sadhus. Srila Prabhupada had transformed Americans or revolutionized their consciousness. Their appearance, so not only they looked like sadhus, but they behaved, talked like sadhus, and especially they were performing kirtan like sadhus. With all their heart, with all their strength, they were chanting and dancing on the stage. And that is where I picked up this kirtan 50 years ago. So that festival lasted for 11 days. Sorry, there's a electricity. So, and then I also started chanting and dancing from that time onwards, and to this day I am doing chanting and dancing. So I think that the mood of the chanter, that's also standard. So I picked up that the devotees were chanting with, full absorption. They're not distracted, although there are some reasons to be distracted. There are thousands were around in audience and other sounds, but they were in their own world, chanting and dancing. So if there's a standard, Kirtan standard, that's the standard. Chant with attention, with meditation. That kind of mood. And of course, we heard from Srila Prabhupada. He wanted us to chant like a crying of a baby. It's another standard or mood. Crying like a baby's crying. Crying for baby cries for a mother, and devotee chants for Krishna, who is also mother and father of us. And so only when you cry like a baby, the baby cries, then he only gets his mother back, or mother would come to him, pick him up, feed him, or give some gifts or toys. So to chant like the baby's crying for mother. So Srila Prabhupada gave me this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he did say, this was in Vrindavan during Kartik of 72, in Radha Damodar temple, in between Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kutir on one side and the Samadhi Mandir on other side. And so that is where I received this mantra from Srila Prabhupada. So 16 rounds, chant 16 rounds minimum. One time I asked Srila Prabhupada, why 16 rounds, Srila Prabhupada? What is the significance of the 16 rounds? And Prabhupada was trying to explain, but I was, we have fixed this number. So, but then Prabhupada said, why 16? You could chant 16,000 rounds. Who could stop you? Said minimum 16 rounds. Minimum 16 rounds. And now busy as Srila Prabhupada was, what to do? This is the first time I'm experiencing this. I don't know what to do. So he used to ask me from time to time, are you chanting 16 rounds? Are you completing your rounds? I don't know why. It just, I was a good chanter, and but Srila Prabhupada, he did care, and he was making sure, he was concerned. Are you chanting 16 rounds? Hari Hari. Oh, that cup. That cup. So, Srila Prabhupada in 77, he was not well. And in Bombay, in the guest house, one of those towers on the 5th floor, Srila Prabhupada's quarters are there. And that's where Prabhupada had first time ever kind of moved into this new residential quarters of Srila Prabhupada. But not well. He had returned from London. He meant to go all the way to Gita Nagari farm from Vrindavan. There's a whole history, whole life and teachings of Srila Prabhupada. But from London he returned because he was not getting better. And in Bombay he was on bed. And I had to go faster. I think I can't get into so many details. I was chanting for Prabhupada just by myself. We used to take turn with little kartal. We used to sit on the floor next to Srila Prabhupada's bed and chant. And so one day I was kind of chanting, but tired and falling asleep and waking up and chanting. Prabhupada said, "Go take rest." He knew I was out preaching all day, and so he was kind, considerate. Another time, as I was chanting, same place, Prabhupada's quarters in Mumbai. So during my turn to chant, sing for him, I asked Srila Prabhupada, is anything that we haven't done, something that we haven't done that we should now do so that you could be cured, you could be healthier? Have we neglected something, not done something? We have not gone out of our way to, or Srila Prabhupada's brief and simple response was, chant Hare Krishna. What could we do more so that you could be cured? And Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna. Hari Hari. Well, what can I say? You kind of liked my chanting. What can I do? He liked my chanting. One time, one devotee was going all over Hare Krishna land, Juhu, Bombay, and he was looking for me. So finally, he found me, and he said, "Prabhupada wants you. Prabhupada wants you." And I was wondering, what for? Is he remembering me and wanting me? And as I went to Prabhupada's quarter, he wanted me to sing for him. He picked me for this task of. I was not good at many other things. Maybe I was somewhat okay with chanting, and Prabhupada engaged me. In in Vrindavan also during last days of Srila Prabhupada. Whenever I used to enter Prabhupada's quarters, Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to say, Prabhupada, Lokanath is here. Lokanath Swami is here. You would like him to chant for you? Then Prabhupada would say, meaning yes. And I would chant or sing for Srila Prabhupada. I think it was Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance or appearance, I don't remember which one. Prabhupada was present in Mumbai and celebrating that occasion. So then now it was time for offering bhoga and arti and kirtan. So I was assigned to sing that day. So I started singing. Samsara dava nalalita loka pranaya karunya gana ghanatvam. So like that I went on singing the Guruvastak. And singing, I now was singing Sri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Lila Gunarupanam. And everything was going good with, well, I suppose, with singing and following and instrument playing and dancing. And then Srila Prabhupada, middle of the singing of Guruvastak, he signaled me and said, meaning, bring that microphone. And we quickly switched over, and Prabhupada continued singing the remaining Guruvastak. And of course, as Srila Prabhupada started singing, then, that Kirtan was something out of this world, or more ecstatic. And so I sang half, and Prabhupada took over and completed singing the rest of the Kirtan, Guruvastak. I was, this was in Delhi, of course, all the way back in 1976, during Radhastami time. And again, Prabhupada on the stage, and I was doing Kirtan. In the middle of Kirtan, I started singing, Gaur Nityananda bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Gaur Advaita bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Gaur Gadadhar bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Those days, it was not just me, but many other singers were into this Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. I think we picked this up from Gaudiya Math or in Mayapur during Mayapur festival. So Prabhupada did not approve of it. And from the stage he said, no. So then I stopped at Hari bol, Hari bol. So this was substandard. Prabhupada did not approve this. Too much of Haribol. Well, few times is okay. Go to Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. But we used to go on and on and on and on. So the standard is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to be chanted for most of the time. And then, of course, bhajans are there, Gaudiya Vaishnava bhajans. They could be sung, or arti songs and all that is there, Tulsi Arti. But the most of the chant is Hare Krishna chanting, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Singing. So like that. I mean, Srila Prabhupada at same festival, Radhasni festival in New Delhi, he asked me to start bullock carts and Kirtan party. I was traveling with Hansadutas. Swami Maharaja was one of the GBCs, and so I think he was getting away from the management in Germany or wherever he was GBC, and he had come with the buses, German buses, and he wanted me to join his party. But then Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj did not want me to join. And this one Maharaj, Gopal Krishna was Adhikari those days. I was Prastavana Prastha. So, and then they were debating, and then in Vrindavan, after Mayapur festival, Prabhupada that was my Vrindavan festival, and both of them had gone to Prabhupada's quarter, and both were making their case. And Prabhupada was judge, and Gopal Krishna Maharaj was, Lokanath Swami is a key man in Bombay. But Prabhupada said, what key man? Let him go, let him travel. So I was released. And so I was in Bombay for how many years? I joined full-time in 72. And I took sannyas in end of 75. Srila Prabhupada gave me sannyas. And then 76 Gaur Purnima festival. So I was in Bombay for 3.5 years or so. And of course I was only 2.5 years in the movement, and I had approached Srila Prabhupada for sannyas. And but then Prabhupada said, you are already sannyasi, you're already sannyasi. But then I was not happy with that statement, because Sridhar Das Brahmachari, another Canadian, I think he was from Vancouver, Sridhar, and we were brahmacharis of Bombay, and we were roommates, and we were preaching partners. And so when his sannyas was approved by Srila Prabhupada, then I also had rushed to Prabhupada's quarter. Me too, me too, me too. And this is the kind of relationships we had. That's our father, was like a grandfather for us. But, we had this loving dealings, and we were like children also. So, so I had joined this. Okay, that's the point. I had joined this bus party, but the buses had to go back to Germany. Their visa or the carnet, I think German term carnet, was expiring, and the buses had to leave. And our party was going to be left with no mode of transportation. And so Prabhupada came up with this idea. He called me to his quarters in Radha Parthasarthi Mandir, New Delhi, on the first floor. And he said, you start bullock carts and Kirtan party. Start bullock carts and Kirtan party. So I was amazed and pleased and ready to go for it. Go for a bullock cart and Kirtan. The way or the reason I was amazed was how did Srila Prabhupada knew so much of my background, that I had come from village and was farmer's son, and I was kind of born next to the bullock cart. And I'm just telling you, maybe first time I ever sat in the car was at the age of 18, Sachipran. I never sat in a car. I had sat in some train or maybe buses or lorries, trucks sometimes. But in a car, I never had a. So my whole childhood mode of transportation was ox cart, and in the part of India that I was born, Maharashtra, also there's a tradition of going on a pilgrimage, mostly walking, called Padayatra. That's what my father. Right now I'm sitting in Pandharpur here as I'm talking to you in Maharashtra. And my father used to walk 100 kilometers from my village to Pandharpur to take darshan of Vitthal Pandurang deity here, and then walk back another 100 kilometers. And that's nothing. Some other pilgrims would walk, 200, 300, 500 kilometers, called Padayatra. So Prabhupada picked me up. Probably I was the only one from that kind of background amongst his disciples, and it was the right pick, the right time. You, bullock cart. So this bullock cart program, the Prabhupada, this is genius Prabhupada. This was a strategy of Srila Prabhupada to make Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction come true. Tomorrow is Gaur Purnima. Gauranga is going to be appearing, and he's going to be chanting and dancing all over India. And he's also going to go on Padayatra. 6 years Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing Padayatra, walking festival, walking and dancing, chanting. So, and then he predicted that the holy name should spread will spread all over the world. Every town, every village, including Calgary. One day, holy name will reach Calgary. This was prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Will reach Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. So So this was Prabhupada's strategy with this bullock cart, traveling Sankirtan, walking festival, Padayatra. The holy name will be spread to more towns, more villages. And I'm so kind. No, and Prabhupada is so kind that he gave this instruction service to me. And of course, this Prabhupada wasn't expecting that only Lokanath Swami will do Padayatra. As soon as, we started Padayatra, Bullock Sankirtan party. Then Srila Prabhupada wrote to my god brother Nityanand Prabhu in one of the farms in America. He said, we should have millions of such carts all over the world. Hari Hari. So I had experience of this Bullock Cart Sankirtan. And then in 77, as Prabhupada was not well, he was in Bombay, then he returned to Vrindavan, and then I had arrived to see Srila Prabhupada, and that time, Srila Prabhupada, that time I was again traveling with the buses doing book distribution for Srila Prabhupada's BBT traveling party. And Prabhupada, we gave the report. Prabhupada was asking, which book is selling the most? Prabhupada is, is in the bed for months now, and he's not able to get up by himself. His voice is very feeble. You could barely hear him speak. We had to put our ears very close to his mouth, almost very close, so that we could hear. But in that state of condition, Prabhupada is, which book is selling the most? And Prabhupada became enlivened by hearing the book distribution report. Anyway, I had to quickly say this, that then Prabhupada said, I want to see you. What time suits you? So Prabhupada was very serious or in grave voice. I would like to see what time. I said to Prabhupada, there's no question of what time suits me. Whatever time suits you, Prabhupada, fine with me. Then Prabhupada said, is 4 o'clock okay? And then as I went back in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, well, I found out what Prabhupada wanted to tell me. He had already told others, his secretaries and servants, and he wanted to go on bullock cart, Sankirtan, as a trial. At least go to Govardhan, as Govardhan Puja was around the corner. And he said, you organize bullock cart, Lokanath, for me, and take me on a bullock cart. And so it's a long story. Many things transpired, and I did organize bullock cart. It was parked in front of Krishna Balaram temple, and next day we meant to travel with Srila Prabhupada to Govardhan, but then a lot of things transpired during the night, dialogue, concerns. So that never happened. But then we took this as and then Prabhupada departed. on 14th November 77. I was next to him. Was the whole his quarter was filled with, packed with his dear disciples. I was also there. So this bullock cart Sankirtan never transpired. But I took this as a will of Srila Prabhupada. He wanted to travel in a bullock cart, go on a pilgrimage in a bullock cart. So then, so then in 1984, we organized longest Padayatra, bullock cart Sankirtan, from Dwarka to Mayapur via Kanyakumari, which is in down south, southern tip of India, 8,000 kilometers to be walked in 18 months. And we had devotees from all over the world. And what we were doing, we had a Prabupada Murti in the cart. So idea was that we are taking Prabhupada on pilgrimage because he wanted to travel like that. And also that year we were celebrating 500th anniversary of birth anniversary of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating 535th birth anniversary. So 35 years ago, we were celebrating 500th anniversary. How? By this bullock cart Sankirtan or Padayatra walking festival from Dwarka to Mayapur, and to arrive. And today, I think today we arrived. In 1986, today, the day before Gaur Purnima, that party arrived. And we had a grand celebration of Gauranga Mahaprabhu's 500th anniversary, birth anniversary. So 2 in 1. We wanted Prabhupada, his will is fulfilled, last will to travel on a bullock cart. And we wanted to go take Gauranga Mahaprabhu and also visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime places on the way. And that is what we did. And so that day is tomorrow for us, Gaur Purnima festival, Ki Jai. And that Srila Prabhupada, who gave us Gauranga, or who gave us, revealed Mayapur unto us, and gave his books, and to me he gave many instructions, which I'm trying to follow and please him. And whatever I am is made up of his mercy. Tamara Karuna Samara. That is what I could say. So we have many books that the whole list was read. So we can't share all the memories. But then books are there. You could, if you like, you could catch hold of those books and hear more about Prabhupada. And do celebrate this year, 125th anniversary year of Srila Prabhupada. Calgary and every temple, every center, every man, woman, child, in fact, of ISKCON should be remembering Srila Prabhupada and celebrating his 125th anniversary through various initiatives and events, and so that there's an increased Prabhupada consciousness globally. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your wonderful nectarian talk about Srila Prabhupada and experiencing. So now asking few questions. So first question is go like, you say Kirtan is attractive more in the joint Hare Krishna movement. Besides, there's any other things attractive to joint Hare Krishna movement at that time?
Yeah, yeah. Prabhupada's talks were very appealing, and in fact, Prabhupada's talks, especially one special talk, although he was talking to everybody, but I thought that particular talk, or a section, part of that talk was just meant for me. And not only just that impressed me, but that changed my life. And I got my life back, or my direction, and the vision became clearer. And that was Srila Prabhupada said that, I was into wanting to serve people, wanting to serve humanity. I wanted to serve country, like that. This was I was into those thoughts and ideas and concepts, but I did not know what to do, where to start, and no resources. So Prabhupada explained, reciting or quoting Bhagavatam, that if you pour the water on the root of the tree, then the trunk, the branches, and the leaves and flowers and everything is nourished. Yatha taror mula nisechanena trapkanda bhujopashaka. This is the fourth canto, Prabhupada's quotation. So then Prabhupada explained how Krishna is that root of all of us. Krishna is at the root. He is the root. He is the source. And we are like a branches or leaves or something of that Krishna's kind of universal form or the whole existence. So by serving Krishna, then you're serving everyone. So so that got my attention, and I thought I got my mission of my life, and that's what I'm doing. That started 50 years ago, precisely 50 years ago. Maybe that was the day that he spoke. I don't remember which day. There were 11 days, but and with that appeal. And then I also purchased some books of Srila Prabhupada, and they were also attractive. The color printing, 4-color printing, and yeah.
Nice. So we also talked to His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, and he said he talked to Srila Prabhupada 5 minutes, and he feel his 20 years academic career, he's more know from these 5 minutes. So it is excellent. So my second question is, when you joined Hare Krishna movement, any issue with your family? Because you are directly joined in the movement.
Big issues. Big issues.
How can overcome this?
Well, it took a long time. When they found out that I had joined Hare Krishna, I had become Hare Krishna, my elder brother had come to Mumbai from village, and the news that he brought for me was How could you be sadhu? Since our parents, especially my mother, has heard this, now she may not survive. You better come back and keep her alive. So I took permission of Giriraj Das Brahmachari, my temple president in Mumbai, and permission to do what? Go back to family. And I had promised, I will come back, Prabhu. I will return. And so many others had also said the same thing, but never returned. But I did surprise and please Giriraj and others. I did come back after 1 month, although I wanted to spend only a few days, but the family was not letting me return. Really. But they saw how determined I was, and they were also going to the astrologer to find it. Anyway, like that. I better not say much at that time. So initially they become anti in some cases, or a lot of cases, and then they become neutral, and then they become favorable. This is a general trend everywhere, I suppose. So that happened to me, and then now in my village, there's a ISKCON temple, Radha Gopal temple.
Nice.
I had been going every year with some brahmacharis with me and holding festival. 1 year after the festival, I wrote report to Srila Prabhupada of the grand festival and mentioned how one farmer, he immediately, took vow of chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna. I wrote to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, make that farmer ISKCON's representative in your village. So I got the clue that Prabhupada wants ISKCON in my village. He wanted a representative, as he wanted. So that was during Prabhupada's time. It kind of started ball rolling, and then 10 years ago we built full-fledged temple and Goshala and museum, and the villagers are following, and my whole family, that my brothers and sisters, they have become my disciples. They have become followers, and my friends, and like that. There's a whole transformation.
My other question is, you are singing so good and nice. Do you go music school, or how it is did?
No. When I was a child, this singing bhajans is part of the tradition that is followed in all over India, especially Maharashtra and villages. So I used to attend or sit and listen to those bhajan sessions, especially on Ekadasi, all night long. The villagers gather together and sing Tukaram, Sant Tukaram. You heard of name Tukaram?
Yes, I heard. And I also read your one article about Tukaram. So Tukaram is not meet Gauranga Mahaprabhu, but how he's initiated from and inspiring them.
Initiation in the dream.
Yeah.
Initiation in the dream. Because they are not contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
But Tukaram Maharaj said that he was initiated by Raghav Chaitanya, Keshav Chaitanya. Who is that Raghav Chaitanya, Keshav Chaitanya? That is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah.
Okay. Another question, Brajamandal Darshan, your wonderful book. Can you explain more about Brajamandal Darshan?
So it'll take 30 days.
But very short form.
Well, the Brajamandal is a tour of Vrindavan. The Brajamandal Parikrama. There are 12 forests of Vrindavan. Kisi Ghat, Vansi, Bhata, Dvadash, Kanan, Jahasava, Leela, Kaila, Srinanda, Nandan, where Nanda Nandan has performed pastimes during Kartik. And this is what, this Padayatras as we were doing all over India, as we arrived in Vrindavan, then as Padayatris, we wanted to do Padayatra in Vrindavan. And then we did first ever parikrama in late 80s. That's like 30 years ago. And then we had been doing every year 30-day parikrama with a big number, 1,000, 2,000, thousands of devotees for 30 days camping out. And yeah, so after I think 20 years of that parikrama, I decided to write my experience of Brajamandal parikrama. So parikrama takes place for 30 days. So I have 30 days, 30 chapters, and that days from beginning to finish, all the places that we visit and all the pastimes Lord has performed and we hear during that day. It is all there, packed in Brajamandal. So as you read, then you kind of hear the sounds and smell Braj and hear Braj, and you get some being there as you read this experience. So we encourage you to make sure you have a copy of this book. And devotees, those who do not manage to come to Vrindavan to do parikrama, what they had been doing was they sit back, relax, and they read a chapter a day that keeps Maya away. And next day, they follow our schedule. They find out where is parikrama today. Today we are at Radhakund, so they open that Radhakund chapter, or Govardhan chapter, or we are in Kamban, we are in Kadirban, we are in Bhadraban. So they read that chapter, and then they stay connected. And this is how they celebrate Kartik Vrat. So it's available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So those interested.
And how much cost this one?
Not much. Can find that. Maybe $10, $20 or something.
No, that's not so much cheap. Our next question is, how can attract new people in the ISKCON? What's your opinion of that?
Do Nagar Kirtans, do street Kirtans, public chanting. conduct festivals like Rath Yatra or festivals. People like festivals, cultural events. So that meant we had to bring Krishna to them, Hare Krishna to them, or bring prasadam to them. So they may not come to where Krishna is or where Hare Krishnas are, but if Hare Krishna devotees go out,
outreach,
and of course book distribution, that means you are going out and distributing books, performing kirtans, distributing prasadam, holding Rath Yatra festivals or other programs, yeah, Govindas, vegetarian restaurants. So this will get their attention.
okay. So last question is, time is up. So last question, what is your advice in new generation of the devotees?
Hari Hari. Remember Srila Prabhupada. Remember Srila Prabhupada's sacrifices. New generation should remember what Prabhupada has done for us. Krishna is kind of being home delivered by Srila Prabhupada's Hare Krishna movement. So how much grateful we should be for such contribution. So remain grateful. We are indebted to Srila Prabhupada. One time, some disciples were talking to Prabhupada, said, Prabhupada, we are indebted to you. You have done so much for us. Is there any way we could become free from such debt? Prabhupada said, no, you can't be free from this debt. Then there was a pause. And then he said, but yes, you could do one thing. But what is that, Srila Prabhupada? Prabhupada said, you do as I did. Doesn't mean you imitate me, but follow in the footsteps. And that way you will become somewhat, to some degrees, free from that debt. So, younger generation, Prabhupada has so much faith and expectation from young generation or second generation or third generation. And you know what the world is going through. So world needs Krishna. Youngsters need Krishna. And Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Your wonderful nectarian talk. I think everybody getting benefit from that. And we are going we are taking all things together, and we can make some good things so next generation can use it as their example of that. Thank you, Hare Krishna, everyone.